Good evening, fans, and welcome to Channel 60's first game of the season, the 1997 South Bay football season. My name is Rufus Washington, I'm joined by Jason Miller. It's going to be our pleasure for the next several weeks to bring you the very best in South Bay football, featuring, of course, the Leuzinger Olympians and their crosstown team, the Hawthorne Cougars. Right now, we're at Olympian Field as the Olympians tonight prepare to take on the North Torrance football team. This promises to be an exciting game. Let's go down the field level as the captains prepare for the opening coin toss.
Okay, gentlemen, you're the captains tonight. You have the responsibility to keep the team under control and run a good ball game. Your crew tonight is Jim Renrick. He will be on the chains, head linesman. Jeff Kisserole is the back judge. He'll have the clock. Oscar Brady is the man in the middle. He's the umpire. And Scott Vargas will be on the line judge, and I'm Bob Heisel. Good luck to both teams. You're the visiting captain. Please call. I have a quarter. We're going to call heads or tails. Okay? Okay? Tyler, heads. You called heads? Come on here, Blue. What is it? Tails. It is tails. You won the toss?
Defer. So Leuzinger has won the toss.
They have elected to defer.
And they've deferred the option to receive to the second half, so Leuzinger will open the second half receiving. They've chosen to kick off to the Torrance team. A bit of gamesmanship right off the bat, Jason.
Yeah, Rufus, a bit of gamesmanship. You usually see that near the end of the season. But the Olympians, you talk about the Olympians, you talk about a team that's been feast or famine. And their two losses, they really weren't even close. But their two wins, they totally dominated those games. So this is an interesting game. North Torrance is number 10 in Division II, usually in the cellar, but now they're ranked number 10 in Division II. This is a big win for the Olympians early season.
As Jason mentioned, of course, the Olympians coming into tonight's contest with a 2-2 overall record, 1-0 in Bay League competition. North Torrance, again, perennial doormat, having a great season so far. They're 4-0, 1-0 in league competition. In other games in the Bay League tonight, Jason, we've got Hawthorne at Peninsula. Peninsula, of course, ranked number 10 by the LA Times in the southern section. So they're thought of very highly. And Santa Monica is taking on Inglewood over in Inglewood. Santa Monica having a bit of a down year at 0-4. But right now, Leuzinger's at the top of the heap in terms of league standings with a 1-0 record and looking to improve that tonight.
They're at the top of the heap. They beat playoff position number 2 team from last year, Santa Monica Vikings, last week 33-0. This is a big week also. They're facing an undefeated North team, but North really hasn't been tested. They played a Cupcakes preseason schedule, and they squeaked one out against West Torrance last week. They have a high-powered offense. They like to go out of that 4 wide receiver set, and they have some big receivers. It's a test for the Leuzinger defensive backs tonight.
And, of course, Coach Greer has had to make some adjustments this season. Bobby Greer being the head coach of the Leuzinger Olympians. Having been here for the last several years now, and he's starting to mold this team the way he wants, but he had to deal with some players who moved on to different programs.
4 potential all-South Bay players are not playing for Leuzinger anymore. They were supposed to be highly touted seniors. They transferred for one reason or another or just simply didn't feel like playing football. However, they had a lot of talent, but they had a lot of attitude. Coach Bobby Greer feels that the guys he has to replace him, they may not be as talented, but they have great attitudes and they're willing to work hard, which maybe a couple of the players that transferred and quit the team weren't willing to do.
Well, I'm sure he'll play with the guys that he's got, and the guys who are here, they're committed to the Olympian cause, and right now they're getting ready to kick off and see if they can take a victory out of here tonight against this very good North Torrance Saxon team. Saxons clad in the blue pants with the white jerseys, and the Olympians in their home blue and blue with white lettering.
That's new blue pants for the Olympians this year, but they have a test ahead of them. They have got to stop North. They're kicking off to them early. I'm going to tell you right now, Leuzinger needs to blitz North. They'll come out of the shotgun, 4 wide receiver set. They need to blitz them and get pressure on the quarterback. If they can get pressure on the quarterback, it won't be close. If they don't get pressure on the quarterback, it won't be close.
And we're ready for the kickoff now, fans. It's Eddie Miller, handling the kicking duties. fairly short kick. They allow it to bounce. This ball is loose. And the Saxons do fall on it at about their own 18-yard line. So it'll be 1st and 10 from the 18 for the Torrance Saxons.
That's what you get when you get a high kick by Eddie Miller. Eddie Miller's been Mr. Everything. One game he scored 3 touchdowns, kicked 3 extra points, and kicked off about 4 or 5 times. He's the man for Leuzinger. He has to be the man offensively and defensively.
First and 10 on the 15-yard.
They spot the ball officially at the 15, so it's going to be 1st and 10 from there from the Saxons. First pass is out in the flat, and it's incomplete.
Saxon's quarterback, 3-year starter Scotty Schmitz, he's having a big year, played well against North, who played zone against them. Leuzinger challenge them with their defensive backs and play man-to-man, and they'll blitz. Leuzinger will try and get in North's face. They need to get in North's face because Scotty Schmitz is an excellent quarterback if you get him time to pick you apart, which he did last week.
And Schmitz is a senior, a 6-foot senior who's been with this program for a couple of years now, so he's fairly familiar with the offense that they want to run. This time the option to the right side. Our left, they're coming this way. He's got some running room on the outside before it's finally pushed out of bounds by number 32 for the Olympians. And of course we know that that's David Hosier.
That was Keon Limbrick. Rufus, Keon Limbrick is the best athlete on the North team. Anytime he gets the ball, he's looking to head outside and get up the sidelines. North has some tall players. Keon's about 6'2". They have 2 receivers, number 11, Devin Pitts, and number 7, Jason Mitchell, who are also tall. This is a tall North team. They'll try and use their height and strength advantage over the Olympians. And
the 20-yard pickup is good enough for a first down as they're out at the 35-yard line now. Opening drive of the game for the Saxons. Out of the shotgun, they drop back the pass, going deep, and he overthrows his receiver by about 5 yards. The defensive coverage being provided there for the Olympians by Torrance Hill.
He may have thrown an incompletion, but that was a victory right there for North. Let me tell you why. First of all, they picked up the outside rush by the Olympians. The Olympians need to get a rush on them. And second of all, the receiver had Torrance Hill beat, number 45. Keon Limbrick had Torrance Hill beat down the field, and they'll keep going deep. If they get it once, it's a victory for North.
Well, I'm sure the kind of deep passes that bring a twinkle to Al Davis's eyes. Stretching the defense, as they call it. Operating out of the shotgun again. Leuzinger up close to the line. This time they keep it on the ground to hand off to the running back. He's got some running room. Breaks into the secondary before he's finally knocked down by Eddie Miller. But not until he crosses into Leuzinger territory, or almost Leuzinger territory, I should say, right at the 49-yard line, their own 49.
When your defensive linemen and linebackers are rushing hard upfield, it's a nice time to go to the draw, which North did right there. They went to the draw. Good blocking upfield by the Saxons. The Olympians need to recognize draw better. They need to call it out on the sidelines. North starting off. Their offense hasn't missed a beat since the last week win over West.
There you saw in the replay, Eddie Miller stepping in there to make the hit. So it's a 1st and 10 from their own 49 now. Second first down of the drive. Once again, they drop back the pass, going over the middle, just off the fingertips of its intended receiver. And that, of course, was Jason Mitchell. And I got to tell you, their quarterback, Jason Miller, their quarterback looks good. He's made some good, crisp throws. Yes, he's missed the receivers a couple of times, but he's throwing a nice, tight spiral, and it's in the right area.
T. Charles is a sophomore. We're going to take another look at it. He was beat on the quick post. They're trying to get that to free up one-on-one coverage up the middle. They missed him on the quick post, but as you said, Rufus, they're getting awfully close to hitting the big one.
So it's a 2nd down and 10 now for the Saxons. Got movement on the line, and we're going to have a call here. Looks like this may go against the offense.
Well, I'll tell you, the receiver started forward in the left slot, but they're going to call it against the Olympians. I don't know about that call, but they do call it against the Olympians. anyway.
And that's a surprise because I also thought I saw the far side of the line move first and then the defenders move, but they called it against Leuzinger. It's a 5-yard penalty, makes it now a 2nd down and 5. We've got 10:57 left here in the first quarter.
Excuse me, Rufus. Akan Ubia, number 9, and Brian Bruno, number 1, the defensive ends for Leuzinger. They've got to start getting some pressure on the quarterback. They've got to start making some big plays.
We've got a momentary stoppage in action. Okay, there you see the Leuzinger cheerleaders in Channel 6's premier coverage heading onto the field. There's a lot of excitement here. Now back to live action. On the 2nd and 5. There's another pass over the middle. This time it makes the connection, and this is going to be a touchdown. Eddie Miller giving pursuit, but he can't catch him. Jason, you could see that coming.
Good play. Allen Russell, they ran the quick post again, or quick slant, whatever you want to call it. There's no pressure up the middle for the Olympians. They're not getting any kind of pressure in the middle of the pocket. Schmidt standing in there. He's having all the time in the world. We kept saying it. It's coming close. It's coming close. Bang. They hit the big one right there. Allen Russell all alone. And it's going to be a long game for the Olympians if they can't stop that.
Extra point attempt now coming up for the Saxons. So the Olympians stung early. Snap is high, kick is up, and it's no good. So with 10:36 left in the first quarter, the Saxons strike first on a 45-yard touchdown pass, and they lead now by a score of 6-0.
Leuzinger is going to that tight man-to-man early, and I think they got to get away from that now. They've got to play some zone or play a little bit more softer in that man-to-man because I don't think their defensive backs are talented enough to stay with these North Torrance receivers.
And the Leuzinger defensive strategy that time, Jason, backfired just a little. They were pinching up on the line of scrimmage, and quite frankly, Torrance was aware of that, got the pass downfield. As we said, they came close a couple of times on that drive. I mean, and each time, the first time they missed them by 5 yards, the second time it was by about a yard. That time, they made the connection.
And Torrance is getting yards. North Torrance is getting yards, and they're getting them in big chunks. And I bet the shortest game for the Torrance was a 5-yard penalty against the Olympians. So Leuzinger has got to start toughening up on the defensive back end of the ball. Tyrone Brooks, Teague Charles, they have got to start just bumping these North Torrance receivers at the line of scrimmage.
Tyrone Brooks, the middleman in the return core for the Olympians, number 6. This is going to be their first time to handle. It's going to go to the far side of the field. They take it at the 10-yard line. You got to turn it up sooner or later, doing a lot of east-west running. Now we're going north-south. It's got a hole here, and we can get around the corner, and it can't, but an excellent return by number 21 for the Olympians. That's to Teague Charles.
Teague Charles, he got beat on a couple plays last possession, but you thought that the Olympians were running east and west, but you're going to see the blocking set up. This is designed from the run east and west. Look at number 34. The blocking stepped up. Lamar Johnson. Everybody turns back to block, trying to get outside. Good job by Teague Charles on the return.
1st and 10 for the Olympians now. They keep it on the ground. Eddie Miller with the carry. He cuts back upfield. Picks up a good 8 yards before he's finally brought down. Number 5, Eddie Miller for the Olympians.
And Eddie Miller is the man for Leuzinger. No secret about it. Coach Greer's not trying to keep it a secret. Eddie Miller is the best player on this offense. Eddie Miller is the best player on this defense. Chris Foria is starting at quarterback for the Olympians. He was sick earlier in the week. Matter of fact, he was sick today. Coach Greer said he may not start, but it looks like he decided to go with him anyways.
Olympians come to the line of scrimmage on the 2nd and 2 out of the eye. They hand it to the deep back. Once again, that's Miller. He picks up the first down as he crosses over into Saxon territory at about the 46-yard line.
Yeah, the Olympians have a good run blocking offensive line. There's Eddie Miller. The Olympians have a good run blocking offensive line, but Eddie Miller, he's definitely a choice for maybe even all CIF this year. He's having that kind of a year. He's the leading rusher in the South Bay for the Olympians.
And of course, you may have noted there Eddie Miller is quarterback, and as Jason told you earlier, Eddie did start the first 2 games at quarterback and is a very capable one. But Coach Greer thought he could make a bigger contribution out of the backfield. And once again, you see Eddie Miller ripping off big chunks. He's picking up 7-8 yards on every carry, Jason.
That play right there, Leuzinger's bread and butter for decades, a trap right up the middle. They're going to run it. Everybody knows Leuzinger wants to run it. You see the guard pull, open up a nice big hole. Nice block by Camacho, it's number 75, to open it up. Eddie Miller will get through the hole. He will run hard.
And that's Jorge Camacho, who comes in at 260 pounds. Inside handoff, this time ball's loose. Let's see, who do they say have it? Looks like the indication is going to be Torrance, and it is. Turnover against the Olympians.
Leuzinger fumbled 4 times in the opening contest against Mayfair. This time it looked like it was a problem with the exchange between the quarterback Chris Foria and number 1 Brian Bruno, the up man. The Olympians give up another turnover this year. When they've turned the ball over, they haven't been close in ball games.
And they give the Saxons the ball in excellent field position. You'll see on the replay here, actually it's a bad exchange between the quarterback and the running back on that one. Eddie Miller never quite got the handle on it. Here's a pitch by Torrance. Nice spin move there. Picks up a couple yards on the play as he takes it out across the 40 to about the 42-yard line.
Boy, does Keon Limbrick look impressive. That time he made Leuzinger's best tackler look like Swiss cheese as he just made a sweet little spin move and kicked it back up. Almost broke it big. At least the Olympians held him to 5 yards, though. The Olympians linebackers need to start making some plays.
And Limbrick has a lot of size on him, folks, for the Saxons. He's 6'3", 180-pound junior.
Eblin Smith's going to have to start making some plays along with Lamar Johnson. They're linebackers for the Olympians.
So it's a 2nd down and 5 now for the Saxons. They drop back the pass again. They go over the middle. This time it's incomplete.
You give him all day to throw, they're going to take all day to throw. You see Scott Schmitz, you cannot give him that much time and play man-to-man defense or you get burnt every time.
7:52 left in the first quarter. 6-0 in favor of the Saxons on a 45-yard touchdown pass. This is a 3rd and 5 coming up from their own 43. Big 3rd down play for the Olympians. This being Torrance's 2nd drive, coming courtesy of the fumble by the Olympians. They want to make the 3rd down play here. They send the man in motion. They keep it on the ground. It's going to be close. Looks like he picked up the 1st down now. Once again, that was number 3, Keon Limbrick with the carry.
Limbrick looks impressive. North throws the ball so much, it's surprising that they've gone to their run game early in this ball game. But the Olympians linebacking core, they've got to make sure it tackles. You cannot give 5 yards plus up every single play. This defense now looks like it's starting to get a bit tired.
Well, the defense certainly has been on the field a long time. In this first quarter already, they've been on the field most of it. The offense only, if my memory serves me correct, has only got off 3 plays before the turnover. They go with 4 receivers. They send number 7 in motion to the left side of the line. Once again, good drop back, good pass, good stick by Eddie Miller. Pass complete out at the 46-yard line.
I tell you what, that was a good stick, but that was an even better job by Jason Mitchell of hanging on to the ball, getting his feet in bounds, good concentration. Go take a look at it again. He keeps his feet in bounds, and next thing you know, Eddie Miller bangs him, but he holds on to that ball, and that's something Leuzinger hasn't been able to do. Now it's only 2nd and 5 for North.
There you see on the replay again the stick by Eddie Miller. This guy's always around the football. And you're going to have encroachment on the defensive lineman that looked like Jorge Camacho for the Olympians, may have jumped offside.
If it hasn't been hard enough to stop the North Torrance offense, the Olympians do something foolish, jump off sides. Now you give North the first down. I tell you what, discipline will take you a long way in this game. And if you don't have discipline, it'll bring you a long way down.
And with the penalty, it's a first down for the Saxons. Operating now. There you see 7:12 left in the first quarter. Ball at the 40-yard line. It's time to come with the single back there. That's a fumble. The Olympians can get on it. Let's see, the Olympians have it. And it is their ball.
What a play by Akanubia. He's among the leaders in sacks in the South Bay. That's his 9th. What a hit. That was a shovel pass planned for Schmitz. We're going to take another look at it. That was a shovel pass. You're going to see Limbrick go right under him. He tried to shovel it, but Akan made the hit before he can shovel it, and it's pounced on by Miguel Cruz. Nice play by Akanubia to start that, cause that fumble.
Ubia caused the fumble, and big number 68, Miguel Cruz, made the recovery. So there you see Ubia there, 6'2", senior tight end, playing on the defensive side on that down. On the counter, you got Miller with the ball, and he's going to be stopped right at the line of scrimmage, maybe for a gain of a yard on the play. You're going to have to diversify the offense just a little. I mean, if you're only going to hand the ball off to Jason Miller,
they hand the ball off to me, they'd be in negative by now, Rufus.
But I mean, to Miller, then that's going to take all of the mystery out of what the Olympians are doing. You got to put it up.
But Coach Greer doesn't mind there not being any mystery. You got to stop him. You know he's going to get it, but you got to stop him.
This time they operate out of the eye once again. They keep it on the ground, handing off, and the gains are getting shorter and shorter. Jason, the point I was making earlier, the first drive, they were giving the ball to Eddie Miller. He was picking up 6-7 yards a carry. On 2 carries on this drive, he's picked up maybe 5 yards between the two. The average has gone down considerably already.
You got to see what your other option is. I mean, they have Chris Fourier at quarterback. No knock on him, but none of his receivers caught a pass last year, so they're all inexperienced. I think I'd rather give it for 4 yards a carry than go back to pass and risk disaster.
Well, it's a 3rd and 5 once again to keep it on the ground. This time they do pull a bit of a switch by giving it to Brian Bruno for the carry, and he picks up enough for the first down.
That's why they keep running the ball. You run it for 3, you run it for 3. Hey, you maybe pop one for a Big Ten. There's Brian Bruno. Why does everybody have a mean scowl on their face? Think this is football season?
Yeah, you got it. We've got 5:45 left in the first quarter. The Olympians on the move. They're in Saxon territory at the Saxon 43-yard line.
I tell you what, if there's a weakness on the North team, it's their run defense.
This time they drop back, they show pass, ball's up in there, and it falls incomplete.
I tell you about Fourier, the quarterback. That's what he does. He likes to throw the short pass. If there's an NFL quarterback he reminds me of, you got to say Steve Bono. He'd rather throw the short pass than go deep. The Olympians can't rely on him. He will take, as he improves, the Olympians will improve. The Olympians can't not put all the weight on him. That's why they've got to get good gains on 1st and 2nd down. Not a bad call to change it up and go to the air, though.
Okay, 2nd down and 10 for the Olympians with the incompletion from the Saxon 43-yard line. Here's a pitch back to Miller. Miller cuts it up, comes across. He's going to pick up about 5 on the play. Looks like it'll be a 3rd and 5.
Eddie Miller, Rufus, he likes to reverse field. He likes to cut back. He cut one back against Morningside and ran 80 yards for a touchdown. Eddie, he likes to cut it back. Now, on 3rd down and 5, Leuzinger can run or pass. I think a nice little play action, safe pass to the tight end would be good here, or you can just run the counter to Eddie Miller or Brian Bruno.
Once again, they keep it on the ground on the draw, and they're going to be stopped short of the first down. Brings up decision-making time for Coach Greer now. Looks like they're going to be about 3 yards short.
you got to go for it. It's too short for a punt, too long for a field goal. I'll tell you what, that wasn't a good run by Brian Bruno, and he knows it. He had a big hole right there on that play. But Bruno, this is his first year playing running back, so he's not that experienced in seeing open areas and cutting back. He should have cut outside maybe that play. 4th down and a long 2.5. I'm willing to bet the house that they're going to give the ball to Eddie Miller right here.
Well, I think that's a pretty safe bet. However they do it, it'll be out of the eye. They give it to the first man through, and folks, it looks like he's going to be stopped short of the first down. So the Saxon defense holds on a 4th and short, and they're going to take over at their own 33-yard line, it would appear.
Now they just say first down Saxons, and I tell you what, I think Leuzinger was out coaching themselves right there. I don't see why he just wouldn't give the ball to Eddie Miller. He's averaging about 6-7 yards a pop, 9 yards a carry on the season. Maybe they should have gave the ball to him that play, but hey, we're up here, they're on the field. I don't know about that call right there, Rufus. Now you give North the rock and their passing game.
Well, it would appear, as we were speaking earlier, if your passing game is a weakness, which for the Olympians, I guess one would have to consider it that, but you've got to have some variety, and a part of that, again, is to try to trick them by they expecting for it to be there. You see number 44 on the blitz, their quarterback, Schmitz, escaping it, gets the pass away, completes it for about an 8-yard gain.
I tell you, how about the smarts of Schmitz? He was under heavy pressure, but Schmitz, you know what? Akan Ubia made a good play on the last drive to cause the fumble. He makes a bad play here. He's supposed to stay outside. Look, he's number 9 supposed to stay outside, but he doesn't. And then Byron tries to get in and misses the tackle. And then the smarts of Schmitz finds the open receiver. That's a pretty good quarterback for you to find the open receiver under duress like that.
And a good throw on the run by Schmitz, who already has 780 passing yards this season to go with what is now 5 touchdowns. Here's a pass out in the flat, and that's going to be incomplete.
Back up. Back up. I want Kobe
We're going to, here you'll see on the replay, and you'll see how wide open number 7 is as he stands there and waits for it. The Leuzinger defenders finally get there. Pass was incomplete, fortunately for the Olympians.
All right, North has 2 excellent receivers, Jason Mitchell, number 7, and Devin Pitts. You might see him get the ball right here.
So 3rd and 3, they keep it on the ground. They've got the first down. They're in the secondary. One man left to catch him, and they get him. They're going to call a face mask penalty here. Making the tackle for the Olympians was number 21, T. Charles. And it looks like T. Charles is going to get flagged for a face mask also on the big game.
I'll tell you, Rufus, right now the Leuzinger defensive line, they're getting their hats handed to them. They're not getting any pressure up the middle. That hole is huge, Rufus. He could have walked through that hole. You're going to see T. Charles. They say he grabbed the face mask. Yeah, it looked like he grabbed him in the chin, but hey, anything around the helmet you can't complain about.
I'm saying it was certainly pretty far up. Certainly, and as you say, in the chin area, and actually you can see there where he did get a piece of the face mask. Good call by the official. But to T. Charles' credit, he had to come all the way from his side of the field to make that touchdown saving tackle.
I'll tell you, those defensive linemen, they're getting their hats handed to them. The guys that are doing a good job for North Torrance, there's T. Charles. The guys that are doing a good job for the Saxons, Steve Sager and Chris Willingham, they're handling the defensive lineman for the Olympians.
Let me just say we're working from a program provided to us by the Olympians for any discrepancy in the names and so forth. It does give us an opportunity while we've had a break in the action to talk about some of the improvements made here at Olympian Stadium. First of all, I want to congratulate the Booster Club and a tip of the hat to them for a nice free pregame meal for any fan who walked up. You know, a real treat on the part of Leuzinger athletic supporters to have done that tonight.
Hey, Rufus, I never pick up a bill. I was the first one in line to get a rib.
And we've got a good crowd out tonight, a lot of good fan support. what you see is the results of a lot of efforts by a lot of parents and the student body and the administration in building school pride. I look at the field. I know a year ago, Jason, I was criticized for making some comments about the condition of the field here. To the Olympians' credit, the field is well marked. You've got a big blue L in the middle to signal that it's midfield. So we're seeing a lot of things. And I'll come back to that in
Is
just
that
a
all
moment.
to satisfy you, Rufus?
1st and 10 from the 10-yard line for the Saxons now. They're threatening to score again. Out of the shotgun, they drop back the pass. Here's the pass in the flat, and he throws it away. You get a late flag from the official.
That's going to be offensive pass interference. Rufus is going to be on number 8, Alan Russell. He pushed off, and the official saw it. These are crafty North receivers. They are tall, and they've been watching a little bit too much Michael Irvin. This is the NFL. With a play like this, he's not going to be in the game not for long.
Okay.
Go ahead and look at the push right there, right in the
push
chest of Teague. Wasn't much of a push, but hey, it's enough of a push to bring him back. Now the Olympians finally get a penalty to go their way, and now maybe take the North Torrance squad out of field goal range.
Camera coverage provided there by the inimitable Jose Bravo. Of course, the Channel 6, the crew, as you come to know them, and we'll get to them in just a minute as you see the official mark it off there. But you got Bill Barnes on camera, you got Jose Bravo on camera, Robert Medina, Ali Santana, Armin George running replay, Tom Strickfaden on the graphics, and of course, all of this brought to you under the very capable production of one Michael Galarza. We've got 2:52 left in the first quarter, of which this has been one very long first quarter.
I think Leuzinger's making a mistake. They're showing man-to-man defense right here, Rufus. They need to go into, put some extra defensive backs in that ball game and go to a zone with it second and so long. Heck, North is already backed up. They can only do something positive from right here.
And it's going to be a second and goal from the 30-yard line for North. Scoreboard showed 30. They announced it officially as 26. Movement, I'm trying to say, on the Leuzinger line. No call. There you see on the blitz. And number 9 for the Olympians comes from the blind side. That's Akan Ubia. And Smith never saw him coming, Jason.
That's the Nigerian sack master, Rufus. I believe that's his 10th sack on the year. Schmitz never saw him coming. But third, let's take a look at it again. Comes unblocked. Schmitz never sees him coming. Hello, good night. And now the Olympians should get into a 5-6 defensive backs. They can only get a first down by getting to the 1-yard line now. They're playing too close, I believe, Rufus.
That pushes them back to their 35-yard line. Was first and goal from the 10. Now it's first and goal from the 35. They're moving to a shotgun. Here's a drop back to pass. Get a little more time. There's a pass over the middle. Just missed his intended receiver, number 8. And, of course, we know that number 8 is Alan Russell.
Leuzinger's dancing with the devil on defense because if he catches that, that's 6. Alan Russell's going to run the post. He's going to get past Eddie Miller. Let's take a look at the play before that and the sack.
Now, great play by Ubi, a big hit.
They're going for it, Rufus. We may see a quick kick here, though.
So we got 4 wide receivers as they operate out of this shotgun. Classic trick play, but they come straight with it. They're going to get sacked on the play. Great defense in on the tackle there for the Olympians. Number 50, Daryl Guerin.
That was one of the, I'll never be able to understand this call. Why are you going to throw the ball? Finally, the defensive linemen make a nice sack. They come with a blitz. I don't understand for the life of me why they go for it on 4th down and half a mile. Now they give the Olympians the ball back. But, hey, the Olympians will take it.
So
there's a sack master, right, Rufus?
So we got 1:56 left in the first quarter. Leuzinger still trailing by a score of 6-0. North has certainly won the time of possession game in this quarter, but they've only got 6 points to show. Here's a deep pass, and it's going to be an interception.
See why Chris Fourier doesn't like to go deep, Rufus. The first part of the play looked good. It was a nice play-action fake. He had the receiver open downfield, but he badly overthrew him. Coach Greer's not happy about it, and I know why. That was a bad throw that time by Fourier, and you see why he doesn't like to go deep. Really doesn't have the arm for it. You saw the nice play-action fake. The receiver was wide open, but the ball's badly underthrown. Safety plays a nice center field to pick it off.
So North Torrance takes possession once again, and the Leuzinger defense has to head to the field once again. North showing 4 wideouts. Let's see if they send a man in motion. Sometimes they do out of this formation. And now we're going to have a flag on the play. Looks like Leuzinger had too many players on the field.
No, Rufus, they didn't snap the ball.
No.
So I thought it would be delay a game, but they call a false start. Rufus, the North Torrance Saxons, they've ran the ball well. I looked at them. If they're smart, they'll go to it.
So they do call a procedure against the Saxons. Although right as that play was about to get underway, number 6 for the Olympians, Tyrone Brooks, jogged off the field as if though he was an extra man. This time they do keep it on the ground on the draw, and the Leuzinger defensive line is there. There's a fumble on the play. And let's see how they rule this. Leuzinger ball. Leuzinger.
Aurelia Lares makes an all-star play that play, Rufus. What a nice play. Luis Acosta recovered it, but Aurelio Lares made the nice play on the draw. They've gone to the draw over and over. Lares read it, knew it was coming. Nice hit by Brian Bruno causes the fumble, and it's pounced on by number 15, Luis Acosta.
So Leuzinger benefits from the turnover by the Saxons that time. They get possession at the 23-yard line, let's call it. They keep it on the ground. They give it to Eddie Miller. He hits the hole and pushes the power forward for about 5 yards.
They need to get Eddie Miller the ball at least 30 times this game, Rufus. They need to get Eddie Miller the ball 30 times this game because really their passing game isn't that good. It has not been developed. Chris Fourier has only started 3 games. The Olympians need to be able to run the ball because if they are put in passing situations, it could be trouble.
Rolling down to a minute left here in the first quarter. Once again, they keep it on the ground with Eddie Miller on the 2nd and 5. Picks up about 3. It's going to make it a 3rd and 2 for the Olympians.
How improved does Eddie Miller look? He didn't do that last year. Eddie just put his head down and ran hard last year. He showed some veteran running back instincts to cut the ball up inside, and the Olympians are now threatening. They've got to hold on to the ball. Run the ball. If the Olympians do that, they should be able to get a score out of this drive if they don't fumble, of course.
Olympians have been bit by 3 turnovers so far here in the first quarter. We're under 30 seconds now, this perhaps being the last period of the quarter. And not exactly sure. That was supposed to be a quarterback sneak.
He didn't sneak anywhere, Rufus. It looked like the defensive lineman from North snuck up on him. Looked like the offensive line from Leuzinger forgot the snap count, or they went on sound and weren't really alert. Now they got themselves in a 4th and 1 situation.
Well, it certainly wasn't the most precise quarterback sneak I've ever seen. Of course, that will be the end of the first quarter. So after 1 quarter here at Olympian Field, the Saxons of North Torrance lead the Olympians by a score of 6-0, but the Olympians have a 4th and a foot coming up from the 12-yard line, so they're threatening right here on Lawndale's Community Cable Channel 60. All right, we're back, fans, for second quarter action here at Olympian Field, Leuzinger High School. It's a 4th and very short. Out of the eye, they give it to the first man through, and it looks like they've got enough for the first down. The Olympians do as they cross the 15-yard line down to about the inside the 14, near the 13. Leuzinger's best drive thus far of the game, coming courtesy of the turnover by the Saxons.
Nice play. Brian Bruno runs hard. He has a lot of heart, Rufus. You'll never question his heart. He's a little young and a little fresh there at fullback. Had a nice long touchdown run last week against the Santa Monica Vikings. But Leuzinger has North backed up right now. Now they can pass a little bit if they want to. They can fake it and pass it. They're measuring for the first down, Rufus.
Well, this is
It looked like they had it clearly from where we're sitting.
Exactly. So we've got a certain pause in the crowd because they realize that was a 4th down play, and they sure want to keep this drive alive. Let's see if we can get a picture here. You see on the screen, and they're going to be short. They are short just by inches, fan. You see it there. That's no more than 6 inches that they're short. Don't like to criticize the officials, but boy, I got to tell you, when they first spotted it, it certainly looked like the Olympians had more than enough for the first down. I was surprised that I was completely thrown by the fact that they were measuring.
I tell you what, Rufus, I know I'm not the smartest pilgrim to come off the Mayflower, but it looked like he had the first down right there.
Well, it's going to be 1st and 10 for the Saxons from the 12-yard line. We've got 11:56 here, just starting second quarter action.
What a big turnover there by the Olympians. The Saxons are in good shape now.
Well, the Olympians have been pushing the rock uphill all night, and every time they get close, they roll back down to the bottom. Let's see if the defense, though, can maintain some momentum, and the defense showing some spirit. Of course, I have a concern here, Jason. The Leuzinger defense, quite frankly, a quarter is 12 minutes long. My guess would be their defense was on the field for 9 minutes in that first quarter.
Yeah, let's take a look at the replay. The defensive line is starting to play a lot better. As you see, they swarm the ball that play. There's no way Leuzinger can allow North to run at will because their passing is just too good.
North picks up 3 on the play, 2nd down and 7 for the Saxons now. Ball spotted at the 15-yard line. They fake the handoff. They drop back, pass in the flat. They hit number 8, the receiver. He's cutting across, looking to turn up, breaking a couple of tackles before he's finally going to be brought down for the Olympians by Darnell Charles.
And I think they're going to add on to this for a face mask. But wasn't that a good call? They've run the draw all game long. They fake the draw. You see that? They fake the draw. They go to the wide receiver screen, which they do run and run well. As you can see, Leuzinger some bad tackling that play and some good running that time by number 8, Allen Russell. Now they're going to add 15 yards on it for the face mask. Leuzinger just keeps kicking himself in the foot.
And that's the second big face mask penalty against the Olympians. That was Allen Russell on the reception for the Saxons. So the Saxons' field position improves considerably up to their own 45-yard line, where it's going to be a 1st and 10. The backs are split. They drop back the pass. Smith's looking. Oh, near interception there for the Olympians. Almost coming up with that interception was Lamar Johnson.
One thing Scott Schmitz will do, if he's under heavy pressure, he'll throw it up the middle. You know what? Scotty Schmitz, he's been watching too much NFL football. He sees these announcers telling him to throw the ball out of bounds, but he doesn't throw it out of bounds. He just throws it up for grabs. If he does that, then he'll get a few returned on him for touchdowns this season.
And that had touchdown written all over for the Olympians if Lamar Johnson had been able to come up with the interception. Nonetheless, it's a 2nd down and 10. Ball still placed at the 45-yard line of the Saxons. Once again, he dropped back to pass. This time he hits his receiver. And he's going to pick up about 8 on the play, maybe 9 as they cross into Olympian territory at about the Olympian 46-yard line.
You know what, Rufus? You can't let that happen. The guy catches it 4 yards downfield. Boom. You got to keep him 4 yards downfield. You can't let him shake you out of your shoes and get upfield. Now, instead of a 3rd down and 5, it's 3rd and 1.
3rd and 1 now for the Saxons. Big 3rd down play coming up right here for the Olympians. Let's see if they can hold. No, they give up the 1st down as the Saxons take it down to the 40-yard line. This defense certainly has to be starting to wilt just a little, considering the amount of time they've been on the field tonight.
Well, the type of defense that the Olympians run, it's always been susceptible for a quarterback sneak because the tackles are so far wide out and there's no nose guard. But now, fresh set of downs for Torrance and for Leuzinger. Leuzinger has to come up with a big play. No backs in the backfield right here, Rufus.
And you got a high snap with a chance here, and the quarterback just falls on it back in Olympian territory. A loss of
I don't
15 on the play.
I don't get it. If you're North, if it ain't broke, why fix it? They run with no backs. They have no threat of the run. Ah, boy. That's why North is usually at the bottom of the league. Choices like that. And now they're in second down and 25 range. It's second down and Redondo, Rufus.
So it's a 2nd and 20 now for the Saxons from the Leuzinger side of the field at the Leuzinger 45. Out of the shotgun, here's a pass over the middle, and that's going to fall incomplete.
I tell you what, those defensive ends for the Olympians just smacked Scott Schmidt, and he's not going to be able to take too many more of those blows as he's walking off. He's walking around. It looks like he's hurt just a little bit. He seems to walk it off, though.
So it's a 2nd and 25 now for the Saxons. Leuzinger defense getting a big break here on the high snap. Once again, it's a pass out in the flat, and this time Eddie Miller makes the stop. Just as you said, if he catches it 1 yard across, you got to stop him 1 yard across.
How about that tackle by Eddie Miller? His second great tackle. Ball came in the flat. Eddie Miller is like a bloodhound. He smells that ball. He goes after it hard. Now the Olympians finally force him to punt. The Olympians defense, they're coming up with some big plays. They started off shaky early, but the defensive ends are starting to get some pressure. The defensive linemen, slowly but surely, they started to make some plays.
So it's a 4th and 25 now, and I think the Saxons are going to punt. They show punt, but they've been known to pull a trick or two out of their old playback. And you're going to have what would appear to be a delay of game going against the Saxons.
Saxons once again outsmart themselves as they audible so much they get a delay of game called on them.
Alvin Hernandez, number 18, back to receive for the Olympians.
Look at Scotty Smith. Look at the back of his jersey. It's all beat up black, and that's how Leuzinger has to keep it.
Okay. Looks like the call was too many men on the field.
Hey, this is the 5th game of the season. That shouldn't be happening.
So now it's a 4th and 20, still a punting situation. They get the punt away. Hernandez looking to get under it, decides to let it roll. Is he going to pick it up? No, they're just going to let it go dead. They're at the 20-yard line. So from their own 20, it'll be 1st and 10 for the Olympians. We got 7:58 left here in the first quarter on Lawndale's Community Cable Channel 60.
Well, it's nice to be back, Rufus. We haven't been here at the beginning of the season, haven't missed much. The Olympians started off, many people thought the Olympians, since they had the transfers and the guys who are no longer on the team, they thought they'd be at the cellar, but the Olympians have played well, and they're ranked 8th in the Daily Breeze poll.
Great. 1st and 10 for the Olympians. Now they're going to spot it at the 20-yard line. Eddie Miller fumbles again, picks up the fumble, gets about 4 on the play.
It's nice to have basketball skills sometimes, Rufus, as he just dribbles that one right into your hands.
As you mentioned, Jason, and just by way, here you see on the replay once again, Eddie Miller mishandling the ball, picking it up off the ground, though, and he's going to be brought down. Just enough time for the Saxon defense to get there. They give him a gain of 4 on the play, makes it a 2nd down and 6. Once again, it's Miller. Miller pops to the outside. Miller has some running room. Picks up a 1st down before he's finally driven out of bounds.
Keep giving him the ball. Keep giving him the ball. He's getting 4-4, and then it's popping him for 10 and 15. It has to be Eddie Miller for the Olympians, because if it's not, the Olympians are in trouble. Take another look at it. They get the hook block on the outside. Eddie Miller gets outside, then he runs hard. Nobody wants to get in his way. I wouldn't want to get in his way either, Rufus. Well, maybe.
Trainer!
Well, Eddie Miller, as you saw, he was hurt. He's been hurt about 4 or 5 times a game because he plays so hard and so much. He'll be all right, though. He'll be right back into that game.
Looks like he may have a bit of a tending to the elbow there, as you can see on your screen.
Well, they call holding on the Olympians, Rufus. As you take another look at the Olympians star, Eddie Miller, they call holding on the Olympians. You wonder why the hook block was so good around the outside.
Makes it a 2nd down now and 15 for the Olympians. We've got 7 minutes left here in the first quarter. And that pass nearly intercepted by number 35 for the Saxons. Boy, that's Munfua, who almost made the interception for the Saxons.
See, Leuzinger has problems throwing the ball in long passing situations. And I wouldn't be surprised if the Olympians run a draw or some type of play like that right here. Chris Fourier coming into the season was the number 3 quarterback on the roster. Eddie Miller was the starter. They moved him to running back. Robert Silva tore his ACL, so now Fourier didn't expect to see any time behind the center. Now he does.
There's a dump off. Looks like they were setting up some sort of screen. May get them back to the original line of scrimmage. And he's going to bring up a 4th and 10.
Yeah, Terrence Hill caught 2 touchdown passes against Santa Monica. You see the middle screen, the linemen let the guys go, then they get up the field. You know, he's a tight end, not used to running, so we could have said shoulda, coulda, woulda, as some people say, but the Olympians have to punt. And like I said, Eddie Miller's back in.
So Miller back to punt for the Olympians. Gets off a great kick. A great punt by Eddie Miller. Absolutely fantastic. Takes it, goes to the end zone. They'll bring it out to the 20-yard line.
That was a net of 80 yards, Rufus. If my math is right.
I believe it'd be 60. Because you got to take away the 20.
Well, that was a gross of 80 yards. You're the money man.
Right.
80-yard punt by number 5.
Hey, I guess you have to move up there.
Great punt, and that certainly helped the Leuzinger defensive cause, because ordinarily, and you and I've seen a lot of games over the years in a lot of different schools, kicking typically is not a strong suit in high school football for most teams.
Yeah, got that right, and they come out with trips on the left side, Rufus.
So you got a triple receiver formation here on the left side. They keep it on the ground, however. Give him a gain of 5. That's their feature back. Not Brian, but rather Keon Lembert with the carry.
He looked wonderful early, but they kind of stopped giving him the ball. I think they realized their errors, and they're going to start feeding him a little bit more.
We've got 5:35 left here in the first half. The Saxons still holding to a 6-0 lead, virtue of a 45-yard touchdown pass in the first quarter. Extra point was no good. That's why the score stands at 6-0. There's a pitch back once again to Lembert. Lembert has some running room. Like I said, Jason, Lembert starting to run over people. And one of those people that he ran over just now was number 21, T. Charles.
Holy Mary, mother of God, did he bike somebody? I think that was T. Charles that got ran over right there. Lembert got ahead of steam. He's 6'3", and get out the way. As he just totally thrashed T. Charles that play. But the Olympians have to collect themselves and make a play right here. This is 1st and 10 as they're giving up yards on big chunks.
Well, that'll definitely make a highlight film. And he gave number 34, Lamar Johnson, a little taste of it as well. Smith back to pass, swings it over in the flat. That pass incomplete. Intended once again to Lembert. So although they've gone away from Limerick for a while, it looks like this drive is going to be all Limerick's.
Yeah, but once Limerick was getting the ball a lot earlier, then they went away from him. You wonder if they'll do that again. Leuzinger certainly hopes so.
Got a 2nd down and 10 now for the Saxons at their own 45-yard line. Need to get to the Leuzinger 45 for the first down. A lot of movement along the line. Olympians think it's going to be against them. By the way they're acting, and the referee concurs.
That's the 3rd one against the Olympians, 3rd offside. Well, the sack master, Nigerian Nightmare, Kanubia, looks to get a beat on the quarterback, jumps off. Now it's only 2nd and 5.
Well, the Olympians have had several penalties tonight. We certainly know they've had 2 face masks and 3 offsides. That's 5 as a total just here in the first 20 minutes of the contest, virtually. From the shotgun, movement on the Saxon line, big number 64.
Steve Seeger moved that time, Rufus. You know what he's trying to do? He's trying to get a beat because the Kanyubi is starting to beat him. So he's trying to get out of his stance right before the snap or right on the snap, and he's making the mistake. So the Olympians give up the 5, they get it back.
So it's a 2nd down and 10. Still 4:42 left here in the first half. Once again, the pass is in the flat. And get about 6 on the play, maybe 7. Make it a 3rd and 3, let's call it.
These tall players for North are pretty good. Number 11, Devin Pitts is tall. Number 7, Jason Mitchell is tall. And the running back, Keon Limbrick, is tall. That gives him a lot of leverage against these smaller defensive backs that Leuzinger has. The Olympians DBs, by the way, they're starting to play a little bit further back. At the beginning of the game, they were pressing up on them, but they know they can't stay with the speed of the North receivers.
And they're going to call it a 3rd and 3 from the Olympian 48. Need to get to the 45. Schmitz back to pass. Goes over the middle. Has a receiver off the hands of his intended receiver. Eddie Miller there with the coverage for the Olympians.
Leuzinger better thank the man upstairs when they go to bed tonight, because they are getting lucky on some plays that are wide open. North keeps getting deep. They keep beating the Olympian defensive backs because the Olympians really are not as physical and as fast as these North Torrance receivers. The North Torrance receivers are actually more physical than the cornerbacks. You rarely see that.
4th and 3. Saxons show punt. Short punt by the Saxons. Olympians back away from it. Okay. So it's going to be the Olympian ball at their own. Looks like they're going to spot it at about the 25. Let's call it the 26, where it'll be 1st and 10 for the Olympians. 3:42 left in the first half. They're trailing right now by a score 6-0. We'll be back right here on Lawndale's Community Cable Channel 60. Okay, fans, we're back to live action, and as we come back to live action here on Lawndale's Community Cable Channel 60, we'll only miss one play, and I'll give you $1 if you can guess what was that play. It was on Leuzinger offense.
It's starting to rain a little bit. I know Leuzinger has this new multi-million-dollar press box that we're in, but there's no roof on it, Rufus.
Yeah, a few sprinkles are coming down as they were promised. And you've got the crowd here. To some extent, you would think these folks had never seen rain before. They think it's El Nino coming. You know.
Leuzinger's offense better be El Nino, El Quico.
2nd and 12 for the Olympians. Pass is going to be batted down by the Saxon defense. So the Leuzinger passing game, as Jason told you earlier, has really struggled all evening, which has made The coverage for the Saxon defense, their coverage effort just a little bit simpler because basically they're defending against the run.
Third down and long for the Olympians. It's barely sprinkling, Rufus, and you think it's a hurricane the way these people are acting.
Third down and 12 for the Olympians from their own 23-yard line. This time out of the eye. They fake the handoff. They do get the pass out. That pass was intended for Brian Bruno, and that falls incomplete. Brings up a fourth down. And once again, as Jason has said on several occasions, I think it's only fair to the young man playing quarterback for the Olympians. He did not start this season. He was, as a starting quarterback, he was third on the depth chart and has been pressed into action. They wanted to bring him along a little more slowly, but right now he's got to be in there, and if you're on the field, you got to make the plays.
Yeah, Foria's had a tough time of it early, but then drop passes don't help you any either.
And the Leuzinger trick play doesn't work as Eddie Miller, who has played quarterback, passes out of the punt formation. Unfortunately, passes to the Torrance Saxons, North Torrance Saxons, and it's going to be their ball at the 40-yard line, 1st and 10.
You know what, Rufus? Leuzinger just had an 80-yard punt. I think that was a bad time for a trick play right there. But hindsight is 20/20.
Well, that's putting a lot of pressure on your defense, though, and the whole point that we've talked about is that so far, this Leuzinger defense has been like the old Cleveland Brown defense. They've been doing a lot of bending. They haven't broke a whole lot, but boy, you really put them to the test. 1st and 10 for the Saxons. Scott Schmitz, the quarterback. Takes a snap, drops back, pumps, comes back over the middle. Interception there by Eddie Miller. And
Mr. Everything, Rufus.
Eddie Miller giveth and Eddie Miller taketh.
Eddie Miller made the interception because the pass was a floater. It was a duck. Somebody almost shot it, actually, because Schmitz was hit. Look at the rush come up the middle. It's going to be Brian Bruno that hits him and causes the pass to be a little limp. Eddie Miller with a nice interception.
And let's see if we can see on the replay how Eddie Miller got hurt, because he's still down on the field.
Well, it was a bulldog headlock if you watch pro wrestling like I do, Rufus.
And of course I do. I got my own favorites. And Eddie Miller is still down on the field. Once again, you'll see the replay. You'll see Smith dropping back the pass. Here's the pump. Then he throws into traffic. Miller steps in front of the receiver, makes the interception, going up, dragging guys with him. And there you see it right there. Great camera action by the crew here at Lawndale's Community Cable Channel 60. You see exactly what the injury is. Miller goes head first into the turf.
Hopefully he doesn't have a neck injury, maybe a bit of a concussion.
And of course right now you can imagine that the training staff of the Olympians are taking every precaution, certainly because of the nature of the injury, where you don't want to exacerbate that injury any further by having to make unnecessary movements. You see some movement of the limbs by Miller, which is a good sign in and of itself.
He's all right. He's tough. Mr. Everything gonna come off the field hurt. Don't be surprised if we see him back before the end of the first half. The pandemonium's kind of stopped here with the rain stopping also. Look, yeah, he looks to be okay. He got acquainted with the grass, but he'll be right back in, talking over defense with Jamal, formerly Dr. Death Dismuke.
Let's watch it one more time. You see on the replay the pump fake. Eddie Miller stepping in front of the receiver, making it from a different angle. Now you're going to see him when he goes out. And there you see right there. Boy, and we're certainly glad to see. Every time you see that, you feel a lot better. That pass incomplete. But I want to go back to the previous play for just a second, Jason. To see that from a different angle makes you feel even better for Eddie Miller that the young man was able to get up and walk off the field.
Yeah, he's off the field now, but Leuzinger must move on. Their passing game looks in disarray right now as either they're dropping passes, and the Olympians early in the season last year had Marquise Williams, who of course dislocated his knee, and he's, you know, playing at another school right now, but the Olympians don't want to see any more injuries like that.
Drop back to pass once again. This one nearly intercepted. As the linebacker dropped back into coverage, number 22, and just bounced right off of his hands. And as Jason was just saying, when we saw last year's injury to Marquise Williams, last year's leg injury, once again, the fine camera crew of Lawndale's Community Cable Channel 6 enabling you, the fan, to see the action precisely as it occurs on the field.
Well, the Olympians are still having a problem throwing that ball, whether it's drop passes or bad routes. They're really having a problem.
This entrepreneur fakes it, keeps it himself, and picks up about 5 yards. Maybe it's going to be a 3rd down and 5, 4th and 5 actually for the Olympians. We still got 2:38 left here in the first half, fans. See Eddie Miller coming back onto the field.
He's got to punt the ball. I know he's tough, but he can't play without a helmet. All right, there he goes. Now they need to punt it. 2:16 left. They need to punt it, pin the Saxons back, make them travel a long field.
And you got Wessel stopping the play.
With 2-something left, Rufus, Leuzinger needs to kick that ball away. Because you have to think if it's a failed fake punt, Saxons have an easy chance.
And once again, the clouds are threatening to burst. Just for information, guys, we're going to need some coverage here up on the monitor.
Like I said, Rufus, press box renovations over $1 million, no roof.
2:03 left. And this time they do kick it away.
Another great punt.
Drives him back to about the 15-yard line where he goes down to a knee, which is going to put him down at the 13-yard line with 1:52 left in the first half.
Now that's much better, Rufus. Now look how far North has to go. They have to go a long ways. Now if they'd have missed the fake punt opportunity, they would have had an easy play they had an easy chance for a score.
Get ready! Put it, Bobby! Get ready! Get ready! Put it, Bobby! Now!
Hey! Got Jamie! Hey, Mel! Mel! You got Jamie?
Hey, get there!
Okay, 1:52 left here in the first half. 1st and 10. They go deep. They look deep.
Yes!
And the pass is going to be broken up. Good defense played there by number 21 for the Olympians, T. Charles.
Yeah, that was a good play, but he was still beaten. And if that ball wasn't underthrown, that was 6, Rufus. Scott Schmidt's picking himself up off the ground yet again. The Olympians have to keep getting to him, but their DBs can't give up any big plays. It's 1:45 left. You got to play back a little bit. You can't let them get behind you.
And this Leuzinger defense, which has been challenged this entire first half, certainly has played very, very well considering the circumstances, one of which is the amount of time that they've been on the field. There's another pass out in the flat. T. Charles once again on the stop. And of course what that does is stop the clock as the longest first half in the history of Scholastic football drone zone.
North should run a draw right here because if they run too much time off and have to punt it, Leuzinger gets the ball back.
3rd down and 5 from the 16-yard line. Once again, same play out in the flat. It's enough for the first down. And boy, they're working on T. Charles over on that left side of the line. Or their right side of the line, I should say.
They're working him like we were working those ribs earlier. But sooner or later, North is going to go on top for a long pass, and the Olympians have to be ready for it.
So we've got 1:10 left here in the first half. Saxons in possession, 1st and 10 from their own 20-yard line. They lead by a score of 6-0. Smith drops back to pass, sees this man in the flat, hits his receiver. Good defensive coverage that time by the Olympians.
Tackling looks better for the Olympians as they're not letting the North receivers get any yards after the catch. It's called a rack.
Get ready. Hey, they're doing inches. They're doing inches to the wide side now.
There you go, Jamal.
Hey, Chris, back these guys up. Hey, check quick in.
So 30-some seconds left here in the first set. They go across the middle, and that one's overthrown.
Schmitz got nailed again by Brian Bruno. He's picking himself up again off of the ground. He's going to be hurting coming into the third quarter.
And he's getting up a little bit slower each time. So the pressure of the defensive line for the Olympians starting to get to Smiths.
Back up, you guys. Back up. Watch the street. Watch shuffle pass. Watch shuffle pass. Watch the swing of time.
Third down, they call a 6 high snap. Oh, Statue of Liberty. They keep it on the ground. Limber breaking tackles left and right. Picks up enough for the first down. Broke 4 or 5 tackles on that carry, Jason. Was stopped certainly short of the first down, but second, third, and fourth effort got him the first down.
What a run that time. That wasn't so much as bad tackles. That was great running. High knees for Keon Limbrick. He has looked excellent tonight. The Olympians, 2 guys had a chance. 3 guys had a chance at him. In the backfield, they miss him. 3 more guys have a chance at him, and they miss him. Boy, this Keon Limbrick looks like a ball player tonight, but nice tackle made by T. Charles.
So it's going to be a 1st and 10 from the 35-yard line for the Saxons. There are 15 seconds left here in the first quarter. Timeout on the field. You see the replay once again with Limbrick breaking tackles left and right before T. Charles gets in there to finally make the stop.
This is a big Bay League weekend, Rufus. Always the big matchup. Hawthorne versus Peninsula played earlier today. Check your paper for that one tomorrow morning. And the winner of that game always has control of the league. Now it's getting windy.
So we've had a little bit of everything. Maybe they know something we don't know. Maybe El Nino is around the corner. 15 seconds left. Here's a pass over the middle. Boy.
Somebody's got to hit him. You cannot let him stretch open, wide open. He has a big body, so that's a big target for a hit. Somebody has got to hit him, make him not want to come over the middle anymore.
And that's exactly what I was thinking, Jason. I mean, as a receiver, you take your life in your own hands, and then when your quarterback stretches you like that, you're really asking for trouble. Flag on the play. It's going to be too many men on the field for the Olympians. Pass up, and the catch is made. Hit, and it's a fumble.
What a hit, but they're going to get Leuzinger 12 men on the field, Rufus. But what a play.
And the clock expires on the play, but of course we know, and certainly at this level as well, a half of the end of the game can't end on a defensive penalty, and I believe what you're going to see is that the Olympians had too many men on the field.
You still can't let that guy come close to catching that. But what a hit at the end of that play. They're going to get the Olympians for 12 men on the field. Jonathan Moore was running off of the field, didn't get off in time.
And the side judge was standing right there and saw him, and saw two things. One, he saw him attempting to get out the field, and he saw the ball snap before he made it to the sideline.
There's Jonathan Moore, number 55, running off the field. He's about $1 short and a day late with that one. And Schmidt shows a nice arm strength to get this thing down the field. Let's see who made that hit, Rufus.
Right. Now let's watch the end of this play. There you see it batted up. Number 20 makes the reception and gets creamed by Eddie Miller.
Mr.
And he let go of
Everything.
that ball, baby. He said, here, Eddie, if you want it, you can have it.
Mr. Everything with a nice hit right there again. This is what they call untimed down, Rufus. They can take forever to run it because it's 0 seconds left on the clock, of course. But they actually, if you ask me, I think they should just go on a knee right here because Schmitz has been getting killed. And if he wants to get receivers deep downfield, he's going to have to hold on to the ball for longer.
And of course, we know that was a defensive penalty of which the half or the game can end on that. So the Saxons will get one more play.
Do they call the game because of rain?
Not in football. We might call the coverage because of rain, but they're not going to call the game. And again, you see more flags on the play. And I think everybody decides, folks, let's get on out of here, get to the locker room, regroup. And what has been, with the exception of one big 45-yard touchdown pass by the Saxons, basically a tremendous defensive showing by the Olympians here in the first half, because their defense has been on the field for a good 18 minutes out of the first 24 minutes of action that we've seen, Jason.
Yeah, it's been a great first half, Rufus. For the Leuzinger defense, actually, they've given up some big plays, but they played well.
For Jason Miller, I'm Rufus Washington. This is the end of the first half. We'll be back at the top of the second half right here on Lawndale's Community Cable Channel 60 with the North Saxons leading by a score of 6-0 over the Leuzinger Olympians. back for second half action as you see the Olympians take the field. Right now, they're trailing by a score of 6-0 to the North Torrance Saxons. Torrance got on the board in the first quarter at the 10:36 mark with a 45-yard touchdown pass by Scott Smith. From that point on, it's been nothing but a defensive struggle to some extent and a game of turnovers on both sides of the ball. Leuzinger having produced 3 of their own, and the Saxons having produced a couple of turnovers. Leuzinger's defense spent a great deal of time on that field in the first half. We'll have to see if that wears on them here as second half action gets underway. And we talked about it at the top of the contest, Jason, when Leuzinger won the opening coin toss and elected to kick off instead of receiving, as would be typical. And right now it looks like that decision is going to turn out to work in their favor as they get an opportunity to take possession first here in the second half.
I tell you something, Leuzinger is going to have to be able to run the football, because when they get in passing situations, I see big smiles on the North Torrance defensive squad. So Leuzinger is going to have to be able to run the football, and they're going to have to be able to stop the run. Number 3, Keon Limbrick, he has just had his way with the Olympian defense so far. We need to reiterate what kind of game this is, Rufus. Both of these teams, this is an early season big Bay League matchup. There is no weak team in the Bay League this year, so you got to get all the wins you can get early.
And whoever wins this one keeps pace atop the Bay League, because you got 4 teams that came into the night's competition at 1-0 in Bay League action. Somebody may get out of here tonight with, well, somebody should get out of here going up 2-0 in Bay League and challenging for the lead. There's a kickoff over the middle taken by one of the upbacks for the Olympians, number 88. And he comes through. He's going to be stopped right at the 40-yard line. They'll give him progress to about the 41, where it'll be 1st and 10 for the Olympians from their own 41-yard line.
Alpha English looked surprised that he got the ball that play, but he really didn't know what to do with it when he got it. He should have headed upfield, and he had a lot of real estate to run with. There's Alpha, and the Olympians, he's a junior, by the way. The Olympians get it. Nice field position, though. 41-yard line, 1st down and 10, Rufus. Eddie Miller needs to get the ball. You know, they did a good job in the first half running the football, but, you know, they messed up on a couple 4th down plays. They need to just keep at it in the second half and be patient.
So it'll be 1st and 10 for the Olympians from their own 45-yard line, let's call it. Actually, the 40, I'm sorry, fans, the 40-yard line, 1st and 10 for the Olympians. And they've got Miller at quarterback now, and Miller's running in circles, giving a lot of pursuit, trying to turn it upfield. Finally gets turned upfield, still can't get away. He's going to lose maybe a yard on the play, depending on, well, it looks like they're going to give him the benefit of a yard.
That's the longest no-game play I've ever seen in my entire life. Eddie Miller running around and around in circles. See, they had him at quarterback. Chris Foria didn't start the second half. Eddie Miller's still in at quarterback. The Olympians didn't run with a running back that play, so you knew something was up. And you see Eddie Miller just weaves through the whole defense. Goes in circles, runs back about 18 to 20 yards, gets back to the line of scrimmage. All you can ask of him.
Well, one thing it does by putting Miller at quarterback is that it good run that time by number 1, Brian Bruno. And you've got an injured Saxon down on the field.
We haven't heard anything on quarterback Chris Foria, Rufus. I see him on the sideline. He looks to be okay, but what I think is going on right now for the Olympians is they were unsatisfied with the passing game, so they told Eddie Miller, it's your team, you've got to play quarterback. Now you really got to be Mr. Everything.
And for the injured Saxon that's down on the field, it looks like they're taking a look at his knee, and where he already has a heavy knee brace on that knee. Haven't seen his number yet. But the young man has shown expression of being in a lot of pain. Let's give a shout out to the Leuzinger drill team as well as the cheerleading squad for an excellent halftime production, along with the Leuzinger band.
And can't forget Superman Kofi Marshall with the fans of Channel 60 didn't get to see.
But he put on quite a show himself.
All right, let's give the number of big round of applause, number 50. As he's
And that's number 50 being assisted off the field. Jacob Movio would appear to be. That's as close as I can get.
I'll let you say his name, Rufus.
And now Jacob walking off under his own steam, and looks like he's having a couple of words there for the Leuzinger offensive unit as he steps off. It's a 3rd down and 1 for the Olympians. Ball spotted right at midfield. Olympians need to cross the stripe. There's a lot of bumping on the line. Let's see where they spot this. Again, this one looks awfully close, but if you
they
look
gave
at
him a
where
great
the official
spot.
is, looks like it's going to be a 1st down for the Olympians.
They gave him a great spot. You know what, Rufus? It's really cold. It's really windy out here. So it may not be a bad idea to just put Eddie Miller quarterback and run it. Eddie also has an excellent arm. And the Olympians tried to run the option that play. He looked to run it all the way, but Eddie Miller hasn't been getting as many reps as he used to get at quarterback, so he may be a little bit rusty on the option.
Well, he certainly becomes a triple threat from the quarterback position, and maybe that's what Coach Greer was thinking. They keep it on the ground once again. Looks like they're going to pick up about 4 yards on the play. Let's call it a 2nd down and 6 for the Olympians now.
Lamar Johnson, the fullback, I saw him on the sideline with his equipment off. I believe he got it back on, and he wants to go back into the game. But that was the backup fullback, Luis Acosta. So injuries are starting to really hurt the Olympians as Eddie Miller's been banged around this game. Once again, that 4 wide receiver set by the Olympians.
This time Miller on the keeper picks up about 3 on the play. He's going to make it a 3rd down, and it's going to make it a 3rd down, a long 3, possibly 4 for the Olympians with 9:15 left here in the in the 3rd quarter.
Leuzinger right now, their offensive playbook looks like a Pop Warner team, and they're darn sure proud of it. Rufus, just the quarterback get the handoff and run a quarterback sneak on 3rd down or 2nd down and 6. But Eddie Miller, once again, he has a good arm. When they went to forward wide receivers, he's ran it every time. Let's see if he'll run it again.
Well, one of the things they're trying to do with the 4 receiver set is to spread the defensive line just a little, and they keep it on the ground, and actually it's good play calling. It's going to be awfully close to a 1st down.
very close to the 1st down marker.
If it's a 1st down, it'll be good for the Olympians, but if it's 4th down, they're going to go for it. They give him the 1st down, and they move the chains. So Eddie Miller's coming at quarterback, and what has he done? He's moved the ball. So we've seen him run the ball for big plays, make big hits. He's made an interception. Now he's running the team at quarterback. That's why we call him Mr. Everything, Rufus.
And the main thing he's doing, as we see here on the replay once again, the handoff to Brian Bruno. Bruno gets a good head of steam, almost loses the ball there. And they give him a 1st down on the play. So it's 1st and 10 for the Olympians from the Saxon 38-yard line. Here's a pitch back to Bruno again. Bruno heads upfield, makes something out of nothing because the initial hit came behind the line of scrimmage, but he was able to drag the defender for 3 yards.
You might say, why are the Olympians going out of the 4 wide receiver set? Let me tell you why. It's because they want to spread the defense out of north and make it man-on-man with the offensive lineman, give the offensive lineman some good angles and some good options to block. They're trying to spread the defense out because they have some really inexperienced wide receivers in right now.
And you definitely create some running lanes for your backs when the line can't pinch as they were doing in the first half. 2nd and 7 for the Olympians. Once again, they keep it on the ground. Bruno with very little gain on the play. He's trying to make it a 3rd and long for the Olympians now.
But if you're going to run out of the 4 wide receiver set, you're going to have to get some blocking, which Brian Bruno didn't get that play. Now, 3rd down and 5. This is interesting because North really doesn't know what Leuzinger's going to do. They have a running quarterback in, a good running attack, but a quarterback who can also throw the ball. So North a little bit confused, just as you and I are, Rufus. Because I can tell you right now, I have no idea what kind of play they're going to run.
You would think that that'd be a great time, in fact, to run an option play here, and that's going to be my guess. We got some who think it may be a quarterback keep. Here we see, and he does keep it indeed, fakes the option. So there was a little bit of correctness on all sides there.
Well, how many times can you go to the well? You know, it's cute for a little while, but it's not going to work. This is Bay League football, and you're not just going to run bootleg with the quarterback, and it's not going to work the whole game long, Rufus. You called it right, that play. I know you're Lombardi's grandfather, but good call right there. That's a grandfather, I meant grandfather.
Well, on the 4th down play, let's see what the Leuzinger Olympians come up with now, because
Foria's back in at quarterback, Rufus.
This is going to be the big play here, and the Olympians have made a change at quarterback.
I'll bet the house they're giving it to Eddie Miller. I just lost it. Oh, he's there.
Hangs up a pass, and it's here. You got flags on the play. Looks like this is going to go against the defense, and if it does, it's going to give the Olympians excellent field position. Would appear to be inside the 10-yard line, down near the 5.
That's the Olympians' best pass play of the day. Oscar C. Fuentes, he had a good game against Morningside where he caught a 49-yard touchdown pass. He makes a nice play, gets in good position and adjusts to the ball. That was a nice pass thrown by quarterback Foria. Look at the position. He sees it's underthrown, tries to adjust to it. Good call, pass interference, and the Olympians looking for the first down.
That interference is going to be called on John Wilkins.
Now let's see if they can punch it in this end zone, Rufus. Down 6-0.
And let's see where they spotted. Big play for the Leuzinger offense there. 5:45 left in the 3rd quarter here. Leuzinger, of course, still trailing by a score of 6-0. But once again, they're knocking on the door. This is the 2nd time they've been this deep in Saxon territory tonight. First time it came away empty. Let's see if they have better luck this time.
They need a touchdown right here, right now on this drive, and I think they need to give it to Eddie Miller.
They spotted officially at the 16-yard line. They give it to Eddie Miller. Eddie Miller hits a hold. Eddie Miller's got some running room. Touchdown! Eddie Miller.
What an excellent cutback, Rufus. He looked like a 4-year college player as he saw the block set up by number 51, Eblin Smith. He cut it back up, and now Mr. Everything Eddie Miller is also the PAT kicker.
And here we see Miller with the PAT attempt, high snap. They pitch it back to Miller. He's going to try to hit the corner for the deuce.
He's got
it. Make it. Yes, he does. So Leuzinger.
Mr. Everything, Rufus.
Goes for the 2-point conversion. Eddie Miller out of the fake punt attempt. Here you see the touchdown on the replay. Eddie Miller going straight up the middle, sees the goal line, makes the stretch for it. Touchdown.
I wonder if we can see that again from that same angle. The block is made by 51, Evelyn Smith. Freeze it right there. Evelyn Smith cuts up inside the, Eddie cuts up inside the block, accelerates, and a little bit of showboat. Did he have to do this? Hey, I'm not going to talk about him. He's Mr. Everything. Look at the kick out block by Evelyn Smith. Opens up a huge hole to cut it up the middle, Rufus.
So Leuzinger takes the lead now with 5:38 left in the 3rd quarter. They lead by a score of 8-6 on 8-point score by Eddie Miller. 6 on the touchdown, 2 on the 2-point conversion. And that 2-point conversion was a call play. Good kickoff taken at the 10-yard line. Breaks through the middle, has some running room. Uh-oh, it's a foot race now. Let's see if Eddie Miller can catch him. He's got a shot at it. No, he misses. He gets inside the 10. How close does he get? It's going to be down inside the 5, it would appear. Big kickoff return for the Saxons there. With the touchdown saving tackle, That was Nelson Reyes.
What
for
that
the
look like?
Olympians.
That looked like the last 2 years versus Hawthorne. Leuzinger gave up kickoff returns. And I tell you, it doesn't get any easier than this. He ran straight in between the hash marks the whole way until the end. It doesn't get any easier than that. Where are the Olympian tacklers? Eddie Miller tried to come up and make the play. Heck, he just scored a touchdown and ran in the PAT. Somebody from the Olympians has got to step up besides him.
74-yard return to number 8, Alan Russell.
So they spot him at the 15-yard line. And I got a comment right after this play. They keep it on the ground for little or no gain. It's amazing where these officials spot the ball in comparison to where you see the play actually happen.
Looked to me like he stepped out inside the 1,
Right.
or maybe scored.
And somehow or another, the ball is spotted at the 15.
I think the Olympian coaches will take it, though.
I think the Olympian defense will take it as well. Relieves just a little bit of pressure on him.
It's a big difference between 1st and goal from the 2 than 2nd down and 10 from the 15-yard line, from the 14-yard line.
So they give him no gain on the play. 2nd and 10. Here's a pass out in the flat. And that's a drop. Good throw by Smith. Drop by his receiver. Pass intended for Jermaine Wood. No, I'm sorry. That's on the Leuzinger side. That was Jason Mitchell. The pass was intended
He
for.
heard some footsteps right here because he had real estate early. Look at the footsteps coming. I can hear him too. He knew he was going to get stuck. Short armed it, alligator arms right there. And now on 3rd down and long, North is going to have to make a big effort to get this thing in the end zone. They got to make a big effort to get some points on the board here.
And there you see Alvin Hernandez with a little jawboning for him for the Olympians. Got a flag that's going to stop the play.
That's either going to be 12 men on the field on the Olympians or delay of game against North.
4:39 left here in the 3rd quarter. Leuzinger leading by a score of 8-6. And let's see what the official call is.
"12 men on the field." I don't get it. How can you have 12 men on the field twice in one game? Actually, 3 times with oh my goodness, that's just poor performance. Somebody's not paying attention out there.
And penalties have hurt the Olympians on both sides of the ball all night. 3rd down and 5 from the 9-yard line. Once again, to keep it on the ground, this is Lembrick, and Lembrick is going to bull his way in for the touchdown. So North Torrance answers very quickly to the Leuzinger touchdown.
The crowd is booing on the Leuzinger side, and they should be booing the kick return coverage and the man who made it 12 men on the field. They're going to run a counter trade right here. Limbrick is an excellent runner, but hey, he could have walked in because the hole was huge. His hole was as wide as the goalpost, Rufus.
Score stands at 12-8. Let's see. And Torrance is showing that they're going to go for the deuce also. They fake the pass. Their quarterback Schmitz has it. He's trying to turn the corner, and he does and gets in. So that makes it a 14-8 ball game with 4:37 left here in the 3rd quarter.
I tell you what, Rufus, that was a terrible play by the left corner, Jermaine Woodard. He let that receiver get into him. Looked like he didn't even want to make the tackle. The Olympians, this is something, Rufus. The Olympians work hard, I mean really hard to get a touchdown. I've never seen a team work that hard on one drive, and they give it right back up.
And of course that TD was set up by the 74-yard kickoff return by the Saxons that gave them the ball at the 15-yard line. And there was a 9-yard run by Lembrick. There you see our score in the 3rd quarter. 14-8 now in favor of the Saxons. Leuzinger scored at the 5:38 mark. They scored at 4:37. So you see it didn't take them long. Only took them 61 seconds to get that touchdown back.
They can thank the kickoff return and whoever it was on Leuzinger who was the extra man on the field.
Olympians set up to receive. Their main return man, of course, Tyrone Brooks, number 6 in the middle of the return crew. Hasn't had an opportunity yet. Looks like he may get, no, he won't get to handle this one either.
They can down it since the momentum took him into the end zone.
So it's going to be a touchback for the Olympians. They bring it out to the 20-yard line, where with 4:36, it'll be 1st and 10 for the Olympians. Right now, trailing by a score of 14-8.
The Olympians can't cry over spilled milk, though, Rufus. They've got to come right back and grind out another touchdown as we see Foria comes back in at quarterback for the Olympians. They shouldn't stray from their game plan. It should run the ball, run the ball, run the ball.
Well, we'll see if they stick with that game plan now as we go in as the Olympians with their second drive of the second half here. They give it off to Eddie Miller. Miller's looking for some room. Dances around quite a bit. Ends up with no gain on the play. Be 2nd down and 10 from the 20-yard line.
Leuzinger can't give up those Leuzinger cannot get no gain on 1st down, Rufus. That's almost inexcusable for them because that puts them in close to passing situations. And when passing situations have come, the Leuzinger Olympians haven't stepped up to the plate.
Leuzinger started the second half 6 points down, and that's where they find themselves once again, even after the touchdown and extra point, or 2-point conversion, I should say. The score now at 14-8, so still a 6-point deficit for the Olympians. 2nd down and 9, they're going to call it with 3:50 left here in the third. They're going to go to the air. Oh, and that one's nearly intercepted.
The tight end, Terrence Hill, ran away from the ball. He saw the ball and ran away from it. Almost cost his team an interception.
And that was one of Fournier's best throws of the night.
Let's take a look at it. There's number 45, Terrence. He's going to come right into your screen. He has to come back to the ball. He can't run away from it. You got to want the ball. Well, that's the difference, Rufus, between all league players right there and just players that had the potential but didn't quite get there.
And a lot of these guys are still developing their skills, and they get better as each week goes by. It's a 3rd and 9 now for the Olympians. Eddie Miller with the carry. Miller's going to be stopped short of the 1st down. An obvious punting situation this time for the Olympians. I don't think you're going to do anything tricky here. Not this deep in your own territory.
No comment. Eddie Miller is out there limping, Rufus. Eddie Miller, the punter, and just about everything else, he's out there limping.
And when you've got a punter on a bad wheel, that's not a good sight. Gets a kick away, low line drive kick. Is going to take a Leuzinger bounce, though. It's at the 30. Looks like they're going to say, was there contact?
Yes, touched
there was contact. There was contact by the Torrance return man, who should have stepped away from it, outsmarted himself by getting near the ball. When he decided to let it roll, he should have moved away, but instead he wanted to stay there and play around with the Leuzinger return team, and very alertly, and you're going to see it here on the replay.
Cardinal
you see the
sin,
ball
Rufus.
hit. There you see number 8 now. Now all he has to do is move away from the ball, but instead he allows himself to get there. He makes contact with it, and very alertly, number 19 for the Olympians.
That was like getting a bomb right now. Now the Olympians are in business.
So the Olympians get a big break there. They keep the ball on the ground. That's Bruno with the carry. Stumbles, they'll call him down where his knee made contact.
He had a chance to break that play. He hit his knee. That really hurt. He had at least 10 yards ahead of him right there, Rufus. The Olympians get a big break. I have never seen a play where the returner runs back to the ball after the ball is just about dead. Let's see if that'll come back to haunt the Saxons.
A real brain buster that time by the Saxons. Gives the Olympians a great opportunity. Let's see if they can capitalize on it here in the 3rd quarter. with a minute 55 left. They look past, they throw past. We got a flag on the play.
North Torrance is completing all the Olympians' passes. The only passes the Olympians can complete are off of pass interferences, and I tell you what, they'll take it. As Tyrone Brooks just got hammered. They'd say hacked in basketball, went up for the ball, and, you know, you could call it either way, but, hey, they called it on North Torrance, and I'm sure the Olympians coaches are not complaining. This game is as if neither team wants to win it. They keep turning the ball over to each other and handing each other scoring opportunities. Maybe one team will step it up here. 1:48 left to play in the third quarter, excuse me.
And you have the personal foul pass interference against the Saxons being shown by the referee. It's going to be first down for the Olympians at the 13-yard line.
First and 10, the ball is marked at the 13-yard line.
First and 10 for the Olympians. Saxons show blitz. They keep it on the ground. That's Bruno. Bruno loses the ball, ends up in a Saxon hand, and it's going to be first down for the Saxons. And once again, turnovers.
I do not believe what I am seeing tonight. These teams don't want to win this. It looks like they don't want to win this game. Brian Bruno, there's absolutely too many fumbles on the season. He's got to hold that thing, stop carrying it like it's a loaf of bread. The Olympians get a break. I can't believe it. And they just give it right back. Now let's see if North will give it back to the Leuzinger.
Well, it's been a game of momentum swings and certainly a game of missed opportunities for the Olympians. Once again, they had a golden opportunity that they have let slip right out of their fingers. Saxons keep it on the ground.
They tried to run that quarterback sneak because they thought the Olympians were pretty spread out, but the Olympians were there and ready for it that time. I don't think Schmitz ran it well. The Olympians, hey, they can get a sack, they'll be back in business on defense.
So it's a second down and 8 for the Saxons. Minute 10 left here in the third quarter. And looks like you got a flag on the play. Let's see who this goes against. The Saxons think it's going to be against the Olympians.
We're not watching the Academic Decathlon Bowl, at least on Field Smarts today. I know the players are smarter than this. This is just ridiculous.
So now a second down and 3 the scoreboard shows for the Saxons. Once again, they keep it on the ground. That's Lembrick. And nice tackle that time by the Olympians.
Boy, is he nifty, though, with his waist. He's nifty, maybe a little bit too nifty. That play, he should have headed upfield a little bit earlier.
There you see the senior Eddie Miller on your screen.
Boy, is this a big third down right here. Third down and 2. No way they'll go for it on fourth down, so the Olympians really need a stop.
Big challenge here for the Olympian defense. Here you see the replay once again, as you'll see Eddie Miller step up in here to make the tackle on Lembrick. Once again, they keep it on the ground. They give it to Lembrick. They string him out. He's not going to get it. Great defensive play that time by the Olympians.
It looked like it was open. I think Lembrick took too much time getting through the hole. Now, on fourth down, yeah, North has to punt. No way they can go for it this far deep. Look, he has a hole. He has a blocker, but he decides to be a little cute and skirt to the outside. The Olympians skirt him to the dirt right there.
Well, he saw the hole closing, which was good play by the defense. And as he attempted to avert it, he strung him out, and now we have the end of 3 quarters. So, both teams score a touchdown and a deuce on the extra points. And after 3, the score, the North Torrance Saxons 14, the Leuzinger Olympians 8. With fourth quarter action coming up right now on Lawndale's Community Cable Channel 6 as we watch Coach Bobby Greer head to the other end of the field. We're back to live action here. Now the keeper, let's see if they made the conversion.
I don't believe they went for it and they actually got it. Just think if they wouldn't have got it. That would have been a really pivotal call.
So on a 4th and 2, the Saxons go for it, and they come up with it deep in their own territory. Some might call it a gutsy call. Others might have a slightly less complimentary term for that call.
It's gutsy when you get it.
So it's a 1st and 10 now for the Saxons from their own 16-yard line. Here's the pitch back to Lembrick. Lembrick tries to turn the corner, nothing doing.
Nice tackle. Was that Mr. Everything over there?
On the pitch, number 3, Keon Limbrick for
That was a nice tackle. I believe it was Eddie Miller in the open field, came hard up and made a nice tackle on the sideline because Limbrick is a nifty runner and he'll try and shake away from you. Mr. Everything, though, a nice tackle right there.
2nd and 9 for the Saxons.
It's going to be a 2nd down and 9 now for the Saxons. Ball spotted at the 17-yard line. This time they show 3 wide outs to the left side of the line. There's a pass out in the flat, and that time Smits definitely overthrew his intended receiver.
How wide open was that, though, Rufus? Leuzinger didn't have a player close, at least 15 yards close to the play. Wide open was the Torrance receiver. The Torrance receivers have kind of slowed down a bit in the second half.
It's going to be a 3rd down and 9 now. We're in the 4th quarter action, fans. It's money time for the Olympians.
Let's hope we got some money in the account.
Olympians need to make the big 3rd down play here. To get the ball in good field position. They keep it on the ground. Lembrick has it. They've got an opportunity. They let Lembrick get away.
Penalty
to pick
flag.
up the 1st down.
Penalty flag. That could be coming back, Rufus. Boy, does Leuzinger get bailed out again.
There is a flag on the play, as Jason was saying. Now we'll have to see how the call goes.
But look at this run,
and it's going
Rufus.
to go against the Saxons.
What an excellent run. Boy, does Leuzinger get bailed out right there, Rufus.
You're right, by virtue of the penalty against the Saxons.
Illegal block.
Penalty will be charged to the Saxons.
Instead of 1st and 10 now, Rufus, I believe it's going to be 3rd down and it should be 3rd and 20. It should be a 10-yard penalty, but they mark it 3rd down and 17.
So it's a 3rd and long for the Saxons from the 12. On the reverse, Olympians look like they've got a hand. Okay, they finally bring him down. Man, you start to get really nervous with this Leuzinger defense from time to time.
Brian Bruno and Akan Ubia, Leuzinger's defensive ends, they have played an outstanding game. They kept their containment right there and caused North all kinds of trouble. Now, North had a 1st down. Now it's 4th down. Leuzinger have good field position, but I don't want to speak too soon, Rufus, because the Olympians have managed to step on their own feet once too many times tonight.
Well, they set up for the return from at their own 30-yard line, as if they're expecting a very short punt. Back on the punt return is Olvin Hernandez.
Get away from
it.
it.
And he does. And it's going to be down.
If we've learned one thing today, is to get away from the punt when it's rolling dead.
And especially when you've got excellent field position like that. I mean, I can't imagine what he'd be thinking about. You've already won the battle with the field position you're going to get no matter what the ball does.
As you take a look at Hawthorne Jose, Rufus, the Olympians with the ball, the 31-yard line, they can just run the ball, run the ball, run the ball. Don't even think about passing it until it's 3rd and long.
So they're going to spot it at the 31, where it's going to be 1st and 10 for the Olympians. Hand off to Eddie Miller. Eddie Miller is going to push the crowd for about 4 yards on the play.
Does Mr. Everything want this game? I think we found one Olympian who wants to win this ball game. He kept those feet churning, Rufus, like the butter. What are the people that do that with the butter? He kept those feet churning. Look at that, cut inside. That play was designed to be strung outside. Keeps those legs moving and gets 5 yards out of a play that he should have only gotten 1 or 2 off of.
I had some concern with the position of his head on that tackle, considering his injury in the first half, which appears to have suffered no ill effects from it. That's Brian Bruno with the carry. And he's going to be stopped after a very short gain. It's going to make it a 3rd and long for the Olympians now. This is where you've got to have a 3rd down conversion.
Well, it's 3rd down, Rufus, but this is 4 down territory. The Olympians that play, I don't know about the trap, going to the trap that play, but hey, it didn't work. Right now, the Olympians, they can either run some play action, but I doubt they will because it hasn't worked all night long. I just give the trap to Eddie Miller.
So it's a 3rd down and 5 now. Fumble on the play, and it looks like the Olympians have lost it, and yes, they have.
I do not believe the Olympians have managed to spoon feed North Torrance the ball yet again.
Well, I don't think anybody believes what they've seen now. This is at least the 3rd scoring opportunity. And there you see Coach Bobby Greer again trying to motivate his guys on in spite of it. You know, he's putting up a good front, but you got to know inside it's eating him up to see so many missed opportunities. Because just in football, just as in life, you only get so many opportunities to do well.
Yeah, we still got a lot of time left. Just poor handling of the ball.
8:13 left here in the 4th quarter. Score 14-8 in favor of the Saxons. Olympians led for 61 seconds in the 3rd quarter. There's Limbrick once again.
Good play by Lamar Johnson, trailing the play to come up and make the tackle. Hey, Mike, there's a Leuzinger coach with a skirt on.
There you see Lamar Johnson on your screen.
Replay. Somebody's hurt.
With a skirt on. Huh? Looks like we got an injured Saxon on the other sideline, Rufus.
And we have an injury timeout on the field as there is appears to be a Saxon on the far sideline who may be injured. With 7:41 left in the contest, gives me an opportunity to tell you that this broadcast is the exclusive property of Lawndale's Community Cable Channel 60. Any rebroadcast or retransmission without the express written consent of Channel 60 Sports is expressly prohibited.
Well, for our first game of the season, this has been, pretty much of I guess you can say it's a good game by the score, but it's really been played sloppily by both squads. And when these teams go into their games next week, they'll get blown out if they play anywhere near this.
And I would agree with you, Jason. You would expect 5 games into the season. I mean, you're halfway through the schedule, and you're right. Some of the penalties we've seen tonight, the too many men on the field penalties, 3 of those, or at least 2 of them, 2 face mask penalties, blown opportunities, turnovers galore, scoring opportunities missed left and right. Just not what you would expect from either team. 5 games into the season.
Yeah, North surely doesn't look like a team that's 4-0, and Olympians really don't look like a team that's 2-2 right now. But hey, you got 7:41 to make up for it and win a game.
Olympians fans still keeping the faith because they know there's an opportunity. As long as there's time, there's a chance. Here's a drop back to pass, goes deep. Pass is incomplete. No flags on the play. That's a good sign.
The Torrance big wide receivers right there, you see number 11, Devin Pitts. They try and use their height. You just think that they've been getting pictures of Herman Moore and Michael Irvin and just studying them. But the Olympians defensive backs have done a good job in preventing the jump ball passes. 3rd down and long again, another big. The Olympian defense has to step up big again. Here come the defensive ends, Rufus, Brian Bruno, and Akan Ubia.
Big third down play coming up for the Olympians here. 3rd and 8. Ball at the 29. They keep it on the ground. Olympians got a chance. They got to close on it, and they finally do. To force a 4th down play, and once again, what would appear to be
That
the
wasn't
ubiquitous, obvious punting situation.
that wasn't Keon Limbrick, the man who's destroyed the Olympians with the ball. That was number 36, Rashad Edwards, and he hasn't carried the ball yet.
And there you see the clock running down as it approaches 7 minutes left in the contest. 14-8 in favor of the Saxons. And once again, there's confusion on the Leuzinger side of the ball. Now they drop a second man back into the return coverage.
It's do or die time now for the Olympians.
Olympians show they're coming after the kick. Kick gets away. You need to stay away from it. This has gone from the sublime to the ridiculous, quite frankly, on the punt return coverage.
Leuzinger special teams, their covering and their receiving, it's looked worse than freshman football, to be honest with you, Rufus. I don't understand what Olvin Hernandez was doing right there. It's not a nice time to get your picture flashed up if you did something that bad, but you really got to make a better play of that, or he just can't be back there to return punts.
I can imagine there are going to be a number of fundamentals. Once again, you'll see on the replay here, great camera coverage by the Channel 60 crew. There you see the ball hit. There's no reason. The guy is right in your face. The last thing you want to do is attempt to handle the ball with a defender less than a step away from you.
Mr. Everything, Eddie Miller at quarterback now, Rufus.
And Eddie playing traffic cop in the backfield, drops back to pass, and hangs it up. He's got a receiver, just misses Brian Bruno. Great throw by Eddie. Led Brian Bruno just a little too much, though.
Yeah, he throws the ball long. He throws the long ball much better than Fourier, but just a little bit more touch on the ball, a little bit more air under it, and that was a catch. See, Eddie he's raw as far as the quarterback position is concerned, but he does know one thing, that's to throw the ball long. Olympians just couldn't get up to it.
So it's a 2nd down and 10 now for the Olympians from their own 43-yard line. We've got 6.5 minutes left in the contest, fans. Leuzinger right now trailing by a score of 14-8.
No backs in the backfield. Leuzinger's ran it every time when they've done this.
Miller drops back to pass, steps up into the lane, runs over one guy, but in the final analysis, he's going to be dropped for a loss. Doesn't matter that he knocked the defender down.
He fumbled it. North has it. It's
let's
just
see what
the
they're going to
referees
call.
have to make a decision.
And,
North ball.
And the decision is that the ball goes to the North Torrance Saxons. Let's see if we've got a replay of that, guys. Because quite frankly, Miller didn't think he fumbled on that play, and I wasn't sure that I saw it either. Here we'll see the replay. Miller dropping back. As you say, he's already tucked it under. You can see he's going to run on the play. There he steps up, and
fumbled.
good call. Good call by the official. Ball comes loose, and he's not down or anything. There was a lot of contact. Could have been borderline. Some officials may have said that his forward progress has been stopped and the play was over, but they say fumble. That's the way it goes. Saxons have the ball. Saxons keep it on the ground. This time they give it to number 33. First time this number has been called tonight.
That's Hiram Travis. He was North Star last year. He really doesn't see the plays at tailback anymore. We haven't seen Keon. I see Keon on the sideline. Keon Limbrick is on the sideline. He's injured. They're working on his knee, it looks like. Still time remaining. After all the blunders and the follies, the Olympians still have time to pull this game out.
Oh, with the way this game has gone, you got to believe that the Saxons have at least another turnover left in them. Leuzinger, of course, trying to force it right now on the 2nd and 8. Once again, they keep it on the ground. It's going to bring up a 3rd and long. Leuzinger defense haven't done their share of the load tonight.
Is that what we have resorted to for offensive football, Rufus? Quarterback sneaks, the play of the day?
There you see the official signal, and it is a 3rd and 5. Ball is spotted at the 34-yard line, let's call it. They need to get down inside the 30 to about the 29 to pick up the first down.
All right, another big third down for the Leuzinger defense. I don't know how many times we've said that tonight, though.
There's a snap, it's a bit high. There's a pass over the middle,
Yes.
intercepted by the Olympians. That's number 34 for the Olympians with the
Lamar
interception.
Johnson.
He's still on his feet. And he brings it back to about the 45-yard line. I told you they had one more, turnover left in them. That was Lamar Johnson with the turnover, with the interception for the Olympians.
The Olympian defense has bailed the offense out more than we bailed the SNL out, Rufus. Look at the replay. Lamar Johnson right there, bobbled it, got it, and then some excellent running. He's a starting fullback, Rufus, so he knows how to run that football. Some nice blocks set up by the Olympians. But the Olympians with yet another chance, and this may be their last chance right now.
With 4:38 left, you got to believe that this may well be their last opportunity. But they've got the ball, they've got good field position, and they've got lots of time on the clock. So everything right now is in their favor with the exception of the score, which is the most important thing because they trail by a score of 14-8. Miller drops back to pass. Is he going to pull it down? Pulls it down. Picks up maybe two on the play.
Every time there's no backs in the backfield, the Olympians are running it. If a guy like me can picture that, I wonder what the North defensive coordinators are thinking.
Well, right now, Eddie just a little bit slow on his reads, and man, he's taking a lot of time. He's limping badly as he heads back to the huddle. Coach Greer out on the field now. Let's watch the replay one more time. As he watches the ball, Miller there with a lot of movement, taking a lot of contact. And that time actually falls on top of the ball, had a little bit of the wind knocked out of him on the play. Coach Bobby Greer out on the field now. We've got 4:20 left here in the contest, Jason. And as you say, this is the Olympians, perhaps their last good opportunity to get a score here. Their position, let's set the table, fans. Their position at the 45-yard line. We've got a 2nd down and 8, 4:20 left in the contest. Leuzinger trailing by a score of 14-8. If you're going to make it happen, now's the time.
Well, Rufus, the Olympians, they can run their regular game plan because the North is plenty of time left on the clock.
All right. Olympians come up to the line of scrimmage. Miller, the quarterback. Miller drops back. Miller's looking. If he's going to pull it down, now's the time to do it. Decides to let it go. Throws it into coverage. Incomplete. Nearly intercepted. A little bit short of his intended receiver, who was number 6 on the Olympians. That's Tyrone Brooks that he was trying to go to.
All right, now a big 3rd down for Leuzinger, Rufus. Take another look at it. Eddie Miller had all day to throw, but really didn't have a receiver. He just, threw it up into coverage, hoping for a miracle. Prayer wasn't answered. Almost a nice play by the. We got a penalty against North that's giving Leuzinger a 1st down, and I think it's roughing the quarterback. North wants Leuzinger to win.
Well, it was certainly one that we missed, fans. However, the Olympians will certainly graciously accept it. It's going to give them a 1st down and 10. Let's see what they spotted. They're going to spot it at the North 40-yard line.
Boy, does Leuzinger get a break instead of a 3rd and 7.
1st and 10 from the 40-yard line of North Torrance.
Confusion on defense, Rufus, for North right now.
They keep it on the ground. They hit the hole. Nothing happening there. No gain on the play. It's going to be a 2nd and 10 for the Olympians now.
4 minutes left, Rufus, and it's just like Leuzinger didn't even get 1st down now. 2nd down and 10.
And the sands of time start to slip through the hourglass just a little bit more for the Olympians.
They have plenty of time remaining in this ball game. But they've just got not worry about the clock and worry about getting some 1st downs. Get a touchdown on the board.
Well, the Olympians have already used 1 timeout in this quarter. Short gain on the play that time. It's going to make it a 3rd and long for him, Jason. So far, with the exception of the penalty, the Olympians have not capitalized on this opportunity yet.
Boy, oh boy. 2 straight plays to the 3rd string running back. Now Leuzinger's got themselves into a hole.
And they've also positioned themselves offensively where North can just about key on Eddie Miller because their hunch is that he's going to keep the ball. He drops back the pass. Does he pull it down? No, he lets it go. He's got a receiver, and he overthrows him. Pass intended for number 19 of the Olympians. That's Oscar Cifuentes. Good throw by Miller. Just a little bit too long. Rushed it just a hair.
That was it. That was the touchdown right there. 4th down. It'll be interesting to see if Leuzinger goes for it or not. Eddie Miller is their punter and quarterback, so you won't be able to see until they go into their formation. And actually, it looks like they're going for it.
Well, right now with 2:45 left on the clock, quite frankly, I don't think you have many choices left. I mean, if you don't make it, you still are not giving North the ball in that good a field position. I mean, they'll be at the 40-yard line, but it could certainly be worse. Miller drops back the pass. Miller pulls it down. Now Miller goes to the pass and completely misses his intended receiver. Nothing doing on that play, so North will take over on downs at their own 40-yard line, where it'll be 1st and 10 for the Saxons with 2:37 left in the contest. They lead by a score 14-8.
Boy, the Olympians really have a problem passing the football, Rufus. They've had a problem the whole game. Eddie Miller dodged just about the whole defensive line, stepped up. Thought he had a man, but Eddie, ball kind of sailed on him and went over Tyrone Brooks' head.
Here you see Miller dropping back. Well, it looks like he could have run, but if you notice the defense there, they had two backs sitting in the wait for Miller. And there's a fumble on the play. Fumble on the play. The Olympians get it back. Scott Smith's the quarterback fumble.
I cannot believe this.
At their own 40-yard line.
This is unbelievable.
Quite unbelievable indeed. We've certainly lost track of the number of turnovers that there have been in this game, but suffice to say, there have been a bunch on both sides.
I've never seen a worse played offensive game in my life, Rufus. Have to be honest right there. I can't sugarcoat everything. Take another look at it. I just couldn't believe he's around the quarterback sneak and they fumble the ball.
Once again, they've changed quarterbacks. Number 4 back in at quarterback now. He hands off to Eddie Miller, and Miller's going to be stopped for a loss on the play.
They've got to start to hurry up now as we come to 2:17 remaining in the game, Rufus. They have got to hurry up.
And quite frankly, Eddie Miller is a worn-out football player, Jason. I mean, you can see it. I mean, the guy is walking. There's no spring left in the steps whatsoever. I'm not sure there's anything to be gained.
Worn out or not, Leuzinger has got to get to the line, and we're down to 1:50 left. They're taking their time on offense.
We're at 1:45 left. Leuzinger with the ball. They drop back the pass. Here's a pass over the middle. They hit the receiver.
Tyrone Brooks, nice pass by Fourier, and maybe he's coming back now. The Olympians are in this game. 14-8, 1:37 left.
And that was Fournier's best throw of the night. Clock stops momentarily on the 1st down. Now they crank it back up.
And Fourier has a spring in his step, Rufus. Now you see, look at the replay. Maybe he can come up with some big plays for the Olympians.
Fournier drops back the pass again. Pass is going to be knocked down at the line of scrimmage.
That's not so bad, Rufus, because that stops the clock with 1:20 left. The Olympians have got to get it to whoever's willing to catch the ball, because to tell you the truth, on their receiving corps, there's not one star, and the Olympians, you know what? They have a fast guy who's on the sideline, Akanubi at number 9. He's not out there, but the Olympians have got to find somebody who's willing to make a big play.
This time they put a receiver in the slot, 2 men in the backfield. Oh, God, this play breaks down all over the place.
Oh, boy.
Nobody in the Leuzinger backfield, I should say no one in the Leuzinger backfield, seemed to know what the play or the snap count was, and you had guys moving everywhere. This is Leuzinger's second time out. They've got one remaining. Coach Greer back on the field.
If the Olympians have a trick play, this may be the time to pull it out. There's Coach Bobby Greer in the white shirt. If he has a trick play, this may be the time to pull it out indeed, Rufus, because really their offense is having a tough time of it.
It's going to be a 2nd and 15 for the Olympians. You're going to spot the ball. They're going to say at the 48-yard line. Technically, it looks like it's about at the 46, maybe the 47.
As bad as this game has been, Rufus, it has a chance for some greatness with 1:20 left.
If the Olympians could happen to score, it could come down to that all-important kicking game.
2nd and 15 for the Olympians. On the 46-yard line.
Miller trying to turn the corner. Doesn't get much out of the play.
Clock is going to keep running, Rufus. 3rd down and 13.
Didn't get
The
out of
Olympians have
bounds.
got to hurry. It's a minute left. They're walking around on that field. The coaches need to be telling them to hurry it up. Hurry it up to the line. We're under a minute left now. And they're taking their time.
We're at 55 seconds and counting. It's a 3rd down and 12 for the Olympians. No question you're in 4-down territory
50
now.
seconds left. They got to hurry up. Oh, this is just terrible clock management.
There's the pass over the middle. Incomplete. That'll stop the clock. Brings up a 4th down. Big 4th down play coming up for the Olympians now with 34 seconds left. Quite frankly, this is, or should be, the play of the game. Of course, with everything that we've seen tonight, you never know.
You never know, but that was some bad clock management, that last play by the Olympians. However, it's in the books. 4th down and 12 right here. The Olympians have got to get a 1st down, or this game is over with. The fat lady is warming up, and she's gargling, getting ready to sing.
And right now, she'll be singing in favor of the North Torrance Saxons if this score stands up. But the Leuzinger faithful, no one's left the stadium yet, fans. These folks believe. They've got the Olympian spirit. And here's the last test of that spirit. Here's the last test of it. Never got rid of the football. Never, ever got rid of the football. North is going to take over on downs with 25 seconds left. And, boy, you'll start to see folks scatter out of here now.
Boy, if that wasn't this game in microcosm, all screwed up.
So, looks like the Olympians. Hate to read the epitaph with 25 seconds left in the game and the way this one's gone, but you can be almost sure that the Saxons are going to take a knee on this play.
Yeah, victory formation for North. And that's it. They're lining up, Rufus. The Olympians really squandered one. They should have won this game, no doubt. North handed them this ball game. They're going to end up losing it, and that's too bad for this Olympian ball club. And you know what? That makes a little big difficulties when they have to play the Peninsulas and the Hawthorne of the world. They're going to have to win.
And so, there you have it, fans. You've got it. Your final score, the North Torrance Saxons 14, the Leuzinger Olympians 8. North Torrance opened by scoring in the first quarter on a 45-yard touchdown pass. The score stood 6-0 at halftime. Leuzinger picked up a touchdown in the third quarter, courtesy of Eddie Miller. Eddie Miller with the 2-point conversion, and for a very brief period, they led by a score of 8-6. And when I say brief, it was only 61 seconds because North returned the kickoff 74 yards to set up a touchdown that they went back ahead on. 2-point conversion, 14-8. That's where it ended. But when it's all said and done, Jason, this will be a story of mistakes, turnovers, penalties. Quite frankly, in the final analysis, Leuzinger had 1,000 opportunities, and they blew every one of them.
They've got to start from scratch on their passing game. because if the North Torrance Saxons didn't give if the North Torrance Saxons didn't give the Olympians a million chances, they could have just blown the Olympians right off the field. And likewise for the Olympians. Now they lose to North. That means they're going to have some must-win games next week against West. They have a must-win game homecoming against West.
So Leuzinger drops to 2-3 overall, 1-1 in Bay League competition. The Saxons up their record to 5-0 overall and 2-0 in Bay League competition. So for the entire crew here at Lawndale's Community Cable Channel 60, we're going to be back here at Leuzinger for all you fans for the game next week. For Jason Miller, I'm Rufus Washington saying on behalf of the entire Lawndale Community Cable Channel 60 family, good night.